Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. Today, really been looking forward to this one. I love the topic. Barbara with returns, and this time we're going to be discussing the evolution of human consciousness. This woman, this is her wheelhouse. This is perfect. We're just going to be informed. We are going to be taken, I think, on a journey within. And if you have, again, your questions, comments, just, I know people are just starting to come in. So, just get it all in play. But remember, we're on 8 different platforms. Everything has a chat room except Roku. So, with that being said, my special guest, Barbara With. Hello.
Hi, Michelle. How are you? I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, me too. I am well. I am well. I love talking about consciousness, and it seems as though, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems as though there's a little bit of an awakening going on because I sure see it coming up everywhere. It is a big topic of conversation now, and yet it's always been there.
Well, it's always been there, but not so much in the forefront of what we call the voices of culture,
Right.
the culture around us talking about it now. We've been talking about it. Well, I've been talking about it forever for my whole life, but
Yes.
finally, there's so much talk about it.
Yes.
And I have to say, I think the need in this crazy world today,
Yes.
like there's nowhere to go but in anymore.
Yes.
And so that's why we're seeing this explosion. And those of us who have been, and not just you and me, but all
Yes.
of us who have been chatting about this forever, I feel like, whoa,
Welcome.
it's working. It's
Yes.
working. This is what I wanted.
Yes. Law of attraction. Welcome to the masses.
Yes.
It is wonderful. But this is something like the evolution of human consciousness. I mean, how far back? I mean, I have to say, the planet is conscious, right? So, I mean, where do we label it? Where do we start with as far as humanity goes? Where do we start on that?
I think the start is what I learned from Einstein and the party is that the very first thing to answer that question is that at the root of everything, there's a mystery.
True.
So when you start with that, like we're never going to know because if you think about it, dark matter or the vacuum or the void or 0 point, whatever anybody's calling it, we
don't
can't
know.
because it's not there.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
however that works. Anyway,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
when you start with that, then you kind of have an open mind where you can build on like experimenting with concepts and you and I, having been talking about this for so long, have been through so many waves through the decades of consciousness this and the secret that, and back in the day, but now we're in a whole new world.
Yes, and with obstacles that were not always there. When I say obstacles, I look at fear, I look at artificial frequencies, because essentially frequency plays a role in this. Is conscious not essentially a type of frequency?
Yes, it is. It's a frequency and a vibration.
Yes.
And I guess that's why the work that I've done
Yeah.
and talking to Einstein about all this
Yes.
is, and it's so multi-leveled. I mean, basically we're talking about God, right?
Yes.
We're talking about realizing that we are, in essence, God. And what does that mean?
Yes, because yes, you just send her the mail.
Yeah, send me the mail.
Not me. Send it to
Barbara@barbarawith.com.
There we go.
talk about
Okay. So
No?
yes. So when you say that, this is reaching within, God is within, everything is within.
Yes.
Right.
And we're not, I'm not the God.
Right.
But I'm the god of my own creation here, Barbara With,
Yes.
and everyone has been given that identity, whether you
Mani
admit it or
manifestation? Is
yes,
it a form of manifestation?
it
Yeah.
has to be, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because we manifest our bodies, we were born into these lives, and
Yes.
the mystery is we may never know why, but I've seen so much proof towards this greater consciousness and synchronicity and reincarnation and unification. I've just seen so
Yes.
much of it. I'm so excited. We're in this great time.
Yes. Yes. I'm it's one of those things. I do a lot of energy work with people at light work, and, I try to concentrate more planetary, um, but it is something where I find that you are seeing the effects of that almost immediately, just in how people are behaving in certain areas, let's say that maybe we've worked on, or maybe, putting positive messages into the collective consciousness on a daily basis. And I've tested this theory, and people laugh at me because I'll say, "I don't care, it works." So, my daughter, I used to do a lot of media, and they wanted to interview my daughter for something. So I said, "Okay, do me a favor. I want you to use, like, this really obscure word." She hasn't been used in probably, like, forever. I said, "Say it in the interview somewhere, say the word swell." And she goes, "That's swell. I'll do it." I'm like, "Okay." So she went in and did it. Honestly, Barbara, everywhere I started seeing the word swell. If it's in a conversation, or, if I was on social media, I'm just like, "Oh, come on." And I started experimenting, and it's pretty immediate.
I'm right there with you, Michelle. I've been experimenting, and this was one of the last ones, was that where I'm living,
Yeah,
the family extended is next door too. So mom and sister are next door, and the rest of us are over here, and they
yeah,
have the only immersion blender.
yeah.
So every time I need to mash my cauliflower, I've got to walk over to their house, and then I don't bring it back on time. So I went to the Goodwill one day. I said, "Immersion blender." There it was, $5.99. Stuff like that,
Yeah,
but not before
it's
I
true.
didn't figure out what was the conflicts within me to having this magical life.
Yes,
It didn't it happened, but I never noticed it, or I never, experimented with it. It was just an accident or a fluke that something happened like that.
yes.
Now it's wow, it happens on its own.
See, that's interesting. So I think you can tweak it
Yeah.
as well. Like, if you're looking for something,
Mhm.
I fell into this quite by accident, because I mean, at the time, I was looking for gates, large, like, gates for the front of the property that I used to have, and it had to be just right, because it was a strange size. I've done this with, like, pocket doors too. We were doing a restoration of a home, just to clarify what it was all for, right? And all of a sudden, I'd see kind of what I wanted, and I'd be just, I just, I wish it was like this, or I wish it was like this, without actually realizing that I was, in a way, manifesting into the collective what I actually needed. And within, like, 2 weeks on both counts, the most obscure measurements, the most obscure everything, and there they were. And I was just like, "Well, that was easy. How about $1,000,000 in a house by the sea?" No, that apparently was not a thing. They won't give you that.
Well,
So,
not yet, but
no.
but what I was gonna say is, because absolutely, I have the same thing. I did this big presentation in 2007 with the Crimson Circle in Taos called the Quantum Leap, and there was
Yeah,
this print that one of the people had done for the Quantum Leap, and it was gifted to me,
yeah,
number 7 of all of it, and I took it home, and we have on the island a place called the Exchange,
right.
where people just come and go, perfect, just like you said. Now, my question was, not my question, but my digging deep is, 'cause it's all a mystery how that happens,
Yes.
but is it to me, does it say there's a force going on
Mm.
outside of space-time having to do with consciousness that knows more than my human mind?
Mhm.
And how far back did the process happen on a bigger level to get that thing there in the perfect size, right?
Mm.
Somebody had to drop it off.
Mhm.
I mean, did I just materialize out of thin air? It's a mystery. But if I'm thinking to myself, no, it's just somebody, it's a very artistic community. It's not like it's
Yeah.
weird that it'd be there, but to be the perfect size for this.
Yes.
So how far back did that process begin that I didn't even know about? Like, I didn't even know I needed that. I don't know.
That's
It's
deep.
I know. That's the problem of being me.
That's deep.
It's like, I can't stop thinking
I'd be
these
like,
things.
Einstein,
I
I have a question.
know.
Can I phone a friend?
Yeah, that's what I
Something like
say.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, phone a friend,
Yeah.
Einstein. He'll tell you.
Yeah. S See, I think my belief is if we can vibrate at a certain level, because we're all energy, right? And I think what we put out there comes back to us. So, if we're projecting a bunch of, like, bah humbug sort of energy, then the universe is kinda like, "Oh, you like that? Okay, we're just gonna give you more of that." Just then you go further, you sink further down. Whereas if you're upbeat, I don't know about you, but when I'm looking for something really, like, what I deem special, what I really need, I get very excited. So it's like, yeah. So I think then, my whole vibration changes and my whole mindset changes, and, like, I've seen incredible things happen just by changing the mindset and just, flipping a switch, and then things just start, you know, snowballing. Like if you're worried all the time and full of angst, that's all that's going to come your way. Whereas if you're maybe and I know this is hard to do, and I don't definitely do not want to undermine anybody of saying throw caution to the wind and try not to think so much about whatever it is that's making you anxious or fearful, and try to just, I don't know, hand the wheel off to the powers that be, as far as like the universe or creator. Just hand the wheel. And I'm a very on the wheel type of person. I have a very difficult time giving up my power to just say, here, universe, take the wheel. It's like, what did I just do? Right? So I don't know. I think it's a very like you almost have to master it.
No, that is it. This is all about mastering our
Ah,
own energy.
look at that.
And that's what conflict resolution is about. We train people not just to master it so that you're doing what you're talking about, where I'm in this place now where I can generate joy at a drop of a hat
Yeah.
a lot of times just by being kind to somebody in
Mhm.
need, and it changes the whole energy. However, like I said, to get there, I had to master, because what you're talking about is you're getting in your own way.
Yes.
When
Give
we're
me the wheel. It's my
anxious,
wheel.
yes, and we're anxious, so
Yeah.
we have an emotion. Now
Mm.
here's conflict resolution. You have emotion, that's anxiety, and then you have a thought that talks about anxious things happening. And
Yes.
this emotion fuels this thought. And that's how we end up in the middle of the night thinking about, 6 months from now and how are we gonna pay for our, or whatever, wherever
Did
you're.
dinosaurs really roam the earth?
Yeah, yeah, right. Or
Weird stuff.
or worrying about World War III
Yes.
or anything,
Yes. Yes.
anything. And
Yes.
so the really simple but difficult to do step
Mm.
that we teach is to separate those 2 things.
Mhm.
Because as an emotion, anxiety, we need to move that through our body safely because
Yeah.
it's a part of us, and it doesn't matter if it's from a past life or you're picking up stuff about that, or if
Mhm.
there in real time is
Mhm.
anxiety in your body,
Yes.
then we pivot to deal with it in a different way than we were all raised to do, and culture, of course, doesn't want us to have this power of
Yes.
our emotion.
No.
But we treat those things separately. So when you're anxious, you don't
Mhm.
need to know why.
Mm.
You don't need to know why. You need to know how. How to step outside yourself, identify that you're anxious, and then decide you're going to take a moment to use your breath
Yeah.
to feel it and move it and find something like an affirmation or, the dream that you always wanna have to put between that anxiety and that anxious thought, because
Mm,
that's what makes it come to life.
yeah.
The emotion fuels those anxiety thoughts, and then suddenly, we've all been there, it just gets worse and worse, and we spiral down because then we're more pissed off, and we're always a victim and blah, 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 blah,
Yes. Yes.
and now you can master yourself, take care of yourself, and find a way, because we all have these abscesses of emotion buried in our bodies,
Mhm.
and it's part of our conflict. So this is one way we liberate ourselves and unify ourselves, because all emotion is important and powerful. We've never been taught what to do with it, of course.
No, no, but it does. It makes us who we are. We have to go through those processes, but it's still, conditioning and for example, I mean, you can go right back to being in, in utero. It's like, no, you have an anxious mother who's just like, you child's gonna be born a little sketch bag. Like, what's going on? It's just I
Mhm.
think sometimes it's very much a part of our DNA, which is why, I think the frequency which affects us to that core level, like I always have listen to binaural beats. Like, for me, if I want to relax, because even meditating, it's like, it's like meditating is just like having a toddler around because like the phone rings, the toddler's got to be there. And when you meditate, the phone's got to ring or the dog's going off. It's not, and you're just laying there going, why do I even bother? but but I put on binaural beats and to pull my mind into a whole other direction. So I will work with different frequencies. And that's just putting it out there for anybody out there who's got that fast-paced life or who just has a hard time finding a quiet like 10 minutes in a day just to be alone with your thoughts, not so much your thoughts, but your inner thoughts. Like, right? Like I don't know. For
Yeah.
me, that's what's worked. And I
No,
used
I agree, I agree. I have
to.
used that, kind of frequency through a particular tough patch in my life where I really got down deep into the worst weeds of my trauma from, growing up in that traumatic household, etcetera.
Mm,
And, there was nothing that would help, and, I've been through so much therapy, and I've been through so much conflict resolution and all of it, and just came a time where you had to hit the body directly, and I think that's what they do.
mm. That must have been difficult, for you growing up as I grew up as an intuitive child. Thankfully, I didn't have a tumultuous childhood, but through peers, just finding the right friends and you want to be able to talk about certain things. And then you have your parents saying, family secret, you don't want to talk about things like that. The neighbors will think we're crazy. I'm thinking, okay. But so when you're growing up in the type of environment that you're suggesting, it's just being intuitive, I think makes it a lot harder because, it's like you're empathic as well. Like you encompass different emotions and maybe not being aware of them, but it hits you a little bit more to the core.
Because you're a child and you have
Mm.
sorta, I think it's like the weight of the world, because you are picking up
Mhm.
stuff that, like, my non whatever friends, I had sort of
Yes.
normal friends that just were
Yes.
teenagers and stuff, um, but I don't think that they experienced that firsthand. What does it even mean? For me, I had the, uh, grace of music because I started writing music when I was 12,
Very
so
nice. Wow.
that was why, and I always said, "I have to write or I'll kill myself." There's
Wow.
just so much trauma that I'm coming out of,
Mhm.
and yet, now at this age, I can look back and understand that that condition really led to my gifts coming
Mm.
forward and all the work I've done, especially with Einstein, so
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, I commend you. That's an early age to get started. Talk about putting something out into the collective.
I said all I ever wanted to be was a rock star
Yeah.
from the time I was 5, so
Oh, I had so many friends that were rock stars. I mean, really the world stage kind of thing, and it's just unhappy people.
I know. I thank my lucky stars that
Yeah, you know? Oh my god, so I had to have friends, "So, introduce me to friends, I wanna marry a rock star." No, no, you don't.
no, oh,
You
people
don't really, you know?
farm.
Not Ditson, but I mean, first years are rough. So, but, so if we could take that collective consciousness and because there's a belief. I mean, science is really also on board with all this now. They're just so funny, with the whole Einstein thing. But I mean, science basically says, hey, new research shows that lucid dreaming is a new state of consciousness or dreaming. Are we really traveling? Then we find out the CIA declassified suppressed documents, life after death and consciousness survival. It's like, what?
I
Like,
know, isn't that wild?
yeah, because that goes way back to CIA, I mean, way back.
Well, and I had this document, I think it was called Project Stargate,
Yeah.
and it was about how to, basically how to mind control people,
Yeah.
and from the CIA, FBI, whatever, CIA, and
Mhm.
I read it, and I realized that the work that I did with Einstein and conflict resolution is the anecdote to this.
Wow.
And I was so fascinated that in the study, the actual language, and this is from, I don't know, maybe the 80s or so, I don't know what exactly, but they were saying, here's the 2 ways we studied this. We studied the scientific way,
Mhm.
and then we studied basically the woo-woo way. Okay, they
Right.
didn't use woo-woo, but, they
Yeah.
studied the gurus and the, hypnotists and all of that, and when they concluded how to control people's minds, they had to sort of X out all of the woo-woo stuff in their
Yeah.
reports about how they discovered it,
Yes.
because it would not have been taken seriously, so it just
True.
became the scientific way, but they had to access it
It's
through.
just funny.
I know, and now here we are like, "Oh my god, mom, what? What?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
knew all the time?"
I know. I know. But that is really the way to do it, if you want. I mean, how many of these people, for example, for science who rely on donations or funding. The woo-woo way is not going to get you funding for next year.
More and more.
Yes.
More
Y
and more, actually, it is. I've been finding organizations and
Yeah,
institutes that are funding with that, and
they're doing it.
I actually spoke last, summer at the Science of Consciousness conference in Barcelona,
Mhm.
and this was the 31st year put on by the University of Arizona Tucson and the astrophysicists department there, and they
Mhm.
started out looking for what is consciousness, the scientists 31 years ago, and all they had was scientists. It was so left brain, they probably tipped over the whole, and through the years, as they continued to study,
Mhm.
slowly the psychologists started to show up, and the meditators started to show up, and then the frequency healers, and so they started to really intermingle, and last summer, it
Yeah.
was the 70th anniversary of Einstein's last manifesto being read in London in 1955 on July 9th. Well,
Wow.
I spoke on the 8th, and I presented my decades of research and development with
Mhm.
Einstein and the unified field theory and the kind of what I thought through the years gonna be outlandish ideas, like the source is in the center of the earth and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
operates like a black hole.
yeah.
People were cheering. It's like, "Really?
Yeah.
You're scientists. You think
Yeah.
it's, oh my gosh." So, I think this is the time where science and spirit are
Mhm.
clearly just parts of a whole, as we
Yes.
all are, I suppose, huh?
Well, I mean, I would imagine it had to have happened at some point because science can only take you so far. Right, then you kinda hit this brick wall, and it's like trying to figure out, why can't we go further? And you do as many experiments as you can, you bend your minds and you work together as a collective, and you're all still kinda sitting there head scratching. Eventually, you're gonna have to step out of the box and go, "Alright," quantumly go out of the box and say, gee, there's a whole other world out there that actually makes all of these calculations work. But reaching further. So it is very interesting to see how all of that unfolds. Like for example, scientists figure lucid dreaming is another a type of consciousness. It's like I used to lucid dream like nobody's business. And the things I could do, and it was a whole other experience than just, you know, than just average dreaming, I suppose. I mean, at least
Mhm.
the awareness of it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first, I think science is about doing something repetitively to see if it will replicate. So it really isn't about, although the scientists, all they have is the math and the whatever they work in, uh, but it's the process of science that can be applied to anything, and I think that's what my and the psychic sororities research over these past 35 years has been about, putting it to the test. Okay, here's what they said about conflict revolution. If you do this, then this should happen. Now go be scientists and study yourself and watch it and see, document the results. And so for all of these years, it's proven to be through that scientific method, even though it's one of the most woo-woo stories
Yeah.
that there
It
are.
is, it is, yeah.
So, but in
Yeah.
as far as lucid dreaming and all these other realities, now that we can loosen our grip on like the three dimensions,
Mhm.
like this is the primary reality, and loosen up, then we can begin to be those scientists and explore what does that mean.
Mm.
I did lucid dreaming as well, and
Yeah.
to me it was just an extension of some part of my consciousness that obviously I had no idea
I know.
how to do it, but I did
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of try to look at mm, more logical way, like, I mean, extensions of consciousness. I believe we just travel. I believe it's all just us traveling. I mean, we're energy beings. It's like sleeping in your car in the garage at night. Who's gonna do that? You're gonna get out, you're gonna go and do something, you know, like at least move to another part of the house. Like I don't think we're limited. Like people in comas who have woken up and said, like, I wasn't there. I was all over the place. I saw you guys at home. I saw this. So it's like, see, that just sort of lends to that theory that we're not bound by anything physical. So are these dreams, being in dream state, is it really just, you know, just going dimensionally? Is it just getting into the other parts of our consciousness that are just out there?
Well, and this is what I love about our map of human consciousness. We have a map that
Okay.
clearly shows the physical, and it's centered in the earth.
Wow.
But it
Yeah.
also describes how you start in the center of the earth, and there's a gravitational wave to the surface of the earth, and you're in the lens. And then there's an observer out in the heavens that's in contact with those. There's this whole, and my theory is that we start to wake up to the greater us, like we're in our human minds in our 3 4 dimensional world. We have this idea of what reality is, but there's this huge reality that we haven't even begun to explore
Mhm.
as gods, so to speak.
Yes.
And we start to wake up to it. And I think for why ever you and I were blessed with having those dream states of,
Yeah.
you're conscious, you're
Yeah.
dreaming.
Yes. There's a full level of awareness there. And it's strange because you can go through all of it. Like when it happens to me, I'm aware of everything I'm doing, the people I'm talking to. I mean, everything. Then I wake up. It's just like, wait, what? What was all that? We just can't hold it, you
Yeah.
know?
And plus I think if you stop to take the time
Mm,
and could
yes.
to remember, document, analyze, and then I do a dream analysis where you um, explain it, you define each piece of it, the major pieces, mother, home, whatever,
Mm.
as if you were talking to an alien. So you couldn't say, "Oh, my mother was my mom." You have to say in so many words, you have to describe, "Well, it's a woman who gave birth to me and took care of," however you describe
Yes.
mother,
Yeah.
and that gives you a clue into, what was in the background of all that, that was like, "Wow, what's that?" This is a wild ride, and then
Yeah.
you put it together to find out it really has a much more contextual meaning,
Mm.
but who has the time for that? I mean, that's an intense study of self,
Yes.
and I'm blessed to have the time for it, but I know a lot of people have very busy lives. Like you said, it's hard to meditate. It's hard there's
Yeah.
children, there's jobs, full-time jobs, there's everything.
Mm. Well, I'm at an age where a lot of that is is
Yes.
a thing of the past, but life still is busy, just with I do a lot of media work, you know.
Yeah.
This is very small part of what I do, but it's my fun part. I love this because I just love sitting down. Like today, it just feels like I'm sitting down with a friend, sharing some ideas and inviting everybody else to participate in a wonderful conversation. So that's always good. I often look at like what you were just describing, but some people may be looking at that as dream interpretation because they're having dreams that maybe they're really your travels and it's breaking everything down like literally, the white cat crossed the road. Okay, white, color white cat crossing road. Like, so if you have a whole dream, you could be there like all
That's
darn afternoon.
right.
But is there that message there?
Um, there always has been for me when I break it down and I think, "I
Yeah.
never would have looked in that direction from that dream," you know?
Yes.
So you don't have to do it all the time, but if you have a particularly intense dream
Yes.
that's sticking with you or stays with you,
Mhm.
then,
Yes.
I think it's fun. It's one of the beautiful it's like you were saying about seeing swell everywhere.
It
Like,
just shows up.
it's so easy to do, you say it's the butterfly, and we're gonna see the butterfly everywhere because we set our
Yes.
intention to it, so
Yes, and it's like that song that just keeps coming back up. You hear a song get stuck in your head, next thing you know, it's everywhere during that day. It's just like, God, this is crazy. It's when you look at consciousness and pretty much everything it embodies, how do we get people, I mean, as a collective together, how do we push ourselves out of this whole negative side of it because it's like a beast, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's really it's full of life. Shouldn't we be nurturing it with positive thoughts and giving positive like one positive thought a day? If everybody did that one positive thought a day, but pushed it outward so everyone could benefit, I think we would be living in a much different scenario.
no, absolutely, and, when I interviewed Princess Diana for the
Yeah.
first time years ago,
Yeah.
and her message was, "If everyone who put flowers in front of the palace would do conflict resolution, we'd have world peace in a day." So, what you're saying is true. The challenge is, and it's kinda what I came in with, is that until we get into those hidden parts of ourself
Mhm.
that are well, first of all, everything's a mystery, so it's hard to just, make it compartmentalized, but it has such a great influence on what we are manifesting, and
Mhm.
if we don't know that those conflicts are in there, but we're
Mhm.
conflicted with something outside ourselves, then we're just perpetuating this kind of low frequency loop of, well, it's my mother who did this to me, or, whatever the conflict is.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what prevents us. It doesn't prevent us from putting out a positive thought a day,
Right.
but it does prevent the whole system from catching on to that positive thought
Mm.
in the way that happens after you deal with this, your shadow side. and learn how to master yourself, then it becomes part of the operating system that you're not caught in that low level loop. You're in this more self-loving and self-mastering, self-participating, and that self-care is what we're all looking for. We're
Yes.
looking in other people, we're looking in politicians, we're looking in world leaders, but when we start to self-care in a way that no one can take away from us, that to me has been the biggest transformation of all of my research in my life. It's like,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I don't need anybody to validate me. I don't need anybody to tell me anything about me. I'm detached from that and can consequently turn around and give what
Mhm.
you're talking about,
Mhm.
give the joy, give the intention. And I'm always the one with conflict resolution, I'm here to find a creative solution. I come
Yes.
into a room or a group or whatever, and that's my attitude. We're here to find a creative solution. I
Mhm.
don't have to play this out to prove I'm right,
Yes.
because now I'm self-loving and I know when I'm right and I know when I'm wrong. And I take
Yeah.
responsibility for both, and I'm humbled by everything. But I think, and I'm not bragging about me. I'm just saying, as the
Yes.
research subject in this decades-long
Yeah. Yeah.
experiment,
Yeah.
it works. It's working in ways I just never thought would ever be possible for my life that came out of all that trauma to be in this most magnificent place.
It's like a domino effect then.
Yeah.
Right.
And we
Right.
change the system. So, in the past, I'm sure everybody's going through this. You have one conflict and you just get through that. And then you have the next one, you get through that, and you think, geez, I thought I was over that. So we're not really resolving them at the root level. And so they keep happening. But when you get it to the root, it's like a whole new life. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, for people to go that far within, because if you haven't fixed your trauma in one form or another, you will be like that hamster on a wheel. Like it'll keep going. You have to address it. You have to at least face it. There's you can't fix something that's gone. I always say there's no place for you back there. How many people take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back? You eventually get there, but you have to at least face it. Everyone has parts of their past where maybe they sort of think, "Oh boy, I wish I would have done that differently."
Yeah, definitely. And it doesn't even have to be trauma. It's just, how do we deal with conflict?
Yeah.
And
Mm.
if we, like I did for most of my life, blame other people, avoid my own behaviors,
Mm.
um,
Mhm.
put up a front that I was really this when honestly I wasn't,
Yeah. Mm.
it's just a new way to self-care.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically do for you. That's hard for me because I do for everybody else. I'm always the last one to do that. I'm like, but then I think people around you start to think, "Oh, she's got wide shoulders, she could take it," because sometimes you are that go-to person, and you take on, especially if you're empathic, you'll take on the weight of the world, you'll take on the weight of your loved ones, even though there's really not much you can do for them aside from just listen, because you have to resolve on your own.
Yeah. And yet there's something about once you've taken care of yourself,
Mm,
I think there's for me anyway, this one I'm
yeah,
finding is
yeah,
that I know when to say no now because I'm so intuitively guided instead of intellectually, oh, I have to do
yeah,
this because how we are.
yes,
I have to
yes,
go do this, even though I may not really want to. I have to go do it. And
yeah,
I think when we align to our intuition that way, then we can much easier honor ourselves by saying no in a way that's just natural. And what I do when I
mm,
say no is I can't be the resource
mhm,
for what you're asking me to do, but let me help you find a resource maybe. Let me,
mhm,
so it's still the creative solution,
mhm,
but I've learned not to be that person to everyone, and consequently, I can be more, I think, to more people because I
yeah,
trust myself not to overdo and not to, be so
Mhm.
empathic that I'm giving away everything before I get taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's a form also, just trying to master a manifestation, and putting the wheels in motion to try to use it to heal yourself instead of, like, I need peace instead of I need $1,000,000, like, I need to like, resolution, and people often go with the whole "I want," or let's say, "I need," instead of maybe saying, "Hey, I am. We are one." Like, just it's a different vocabulary, I think, when you are, like, the wording is different rather when you're dealing with consciousness or when you're dealing with the universe per se.
I think some of that was sort of wrongly promoted by The Secret,
Okay.
because I think The Secret had some really good intrinsic concepts in
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but their focus was on the bracelets and on the money and on the relationships and on the things, and they actually said that in order to have this higher frequency, you shouldn't even feel your anger or
Mhm.
your anxiety. Those are lower level things that you need to push away and just stay in
Yeah.
this place. And I was sad for that because I think that's part of the misconception of what gotten into.
Mhm.
And when I started doing my work with the psychic sorority, my 2 psychic sorority sisters, and channeling and studying, back then they were angels, um, they said to us that not everyone in the circle of what we're doing
Mhm.
was gonna go on to develop this or what have you, but that this process that we were bringing forth was intrinsically what they hoped was gonna be the answer then to all this of how do we master ourselves.
That's a tough one.
That
That's
is,
a
it's
tough
the
one.
toughest work of our life. It is the hardest
Yeah,
work I've
yeah.
ever done. But what
Wow.
is the alternative? And that's what I think we're seeing right now in the world is that for many years we've been able to medicate and just pretend that, and just keep our focus here and keep ourselves so busy.
Mhm.
And now we're in a world where it's so insane out there, such a reflection of maybe what we haven't dealt with inside ourselves
Mhm.
that, uh, like I said, there's nowhere to go but in. And
Sure,
if you
because out is worse
Yeah,
for
well,
some people.
but,
Right?
here we are in this
Yeah,
this consciousness
yeah.
conversation, and we all agree in our not all of us, but I think there's a prevailing attitude that's as within, so without, that the world is a projection of what's inside of us, and so it would make sense to me. Of course, I've
Mhm.
been doing this for whatever, 35 years, and they've been telling us that this is the answer to world peace,
Mhm.
is this each individual getting to this place where they realize that, "Oh, it's an inside job." Everything that I've ever wanted, and what they told us back then was they were here to not only would it be world peace, would be a byproduct of this, but all of our wildest dreams would come true.
Mm.
And that was the point where I'm very skeptical, and I was like, "Oh, so I'm gonna be a rock star." That's
Yeah,
what I
yay!
imagined. "Okay, I'm gonna work extra hard now." But what happened was, as I got down there to figure out who I really was and what was really going on and how to bring about this transformation to this traumatized patterns, my dreams changed because I didn't wanna be a rock star. Now it's many decades later and music is in kind of a weird place. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it's
It's everywhere, doing
yeah.
different things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But also
yeah.
the like, the business of music
Oh,
is
yes.
I would not have survived, I'm quite sure. So your dreams change. So if you
Yes.
think you want that relationship or you think you want that bracelet, and if you don't get that bracelet or that relationship and you've been working on manifestation, then somehow you're a failure and it becomes a kind of self-fulfilling re-looping.
Yes.
of getting in the way.
Yes. I agree 100%. I think that is the key. You know, is there a time limit, let's say, on this manifestation of I'm going to throw this out there. This is what I want, and staying steadfast and saying this is it. But in that process, as you mentioned, we do change. So should we maybe put stipulations on ourselves with a time limit? Say, look, if this doesn't happen, let's say 5 years, maybe I should just try something else. Like, how do we jolt ourselves out of there? We become so focused on a dream that I think sometimes we forget that you can have lots of dreams.
And dreams that you don't even know you want to have as you grow and change.
Okay.
And in the search for the dream of being the rock star, um, I didn't give that up for decades.
Wow. Yeah.
And yet I was slowly being moved over to this more of the work that I've done, channeling and the books and the publishing.
Hmm.
And in that process, became not needing to be a rock star. And yet, after all of these years, I still can say, hey, it's not too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not attached to it. I think that's the part of it that
Attachment. That's a good word.
we use when we think it has to look this way for us to be successful. I have to,
Mhm.
be doing these things and being in this instead of putting it out there, which I think you and I probably have done in our experimentations in life about really visualizing what you wanna manifest and then
Mhm.
letting it go.
Mhm.
Just let it go, get out, and then get down to the day-to-day stuff at hand, keep and then having intuition guide us one step at a time. I think people are so impatient.
Especially in this day and age. Yeah. And maybe we're just focusing on the wrong things, like this comes to mind when you mentioned the word attachment. We as human beings tend to attach to things, to people, to places, like, I don't know that attachment is such a healthy thing. I remember my son saying to me one time, and he was only about 16, being all whimsical, and goes, "I'm just an attachment to you." I'm like, "Hell yes, you are. You're 16." You know, and when he went on, became a man, got married, and had a child, I remember looking at this beautiful little person going, "Look, honey, I have a new attachment to love." He didn't think that was so funny because I think you almost, he had to be a parent to understand the form of attachment, but I do understand where at 16 he was going with it. It's not really healthy, is it? And it's sort of we get stagnant.
I think it's what gets in the way. I think it's us getting in our own way to attach to it, and
Yeah.
it's very hard to detach. Sometimes when you go through a lot in
Mhm.
life, you go through a lot of pain and suffering, it's kind of weirdly easier to detach. It kind of trains us to
Yes.
detach. You get so weary of being in that place of suffering
Mhm.
that you have to sort of break out of I think it's the nature of divinity and life inside us. It's all about creativity. I think it's our natural birthright.
Yes.
So, but again, talking about
Yeah.
detachment
Yes.
in where I've gotten is a place I never thought I would get to in detachment, to be able to detach from the everyday things.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
That to me is the most important. So I can live a day in happiness and joy and not always without conflict, but my
Mhm.
underlying base is that surety and
Yeah.
trust.
I guess this is why people become minimalists.
Yes.
It's shedding your skin, but on different levels, because when you look at people who get into these darker places, let's say, it's like retail therapy, and trying to detach from that and, like, becoming a minimalist, it's like I think to myself, "God, that'd be hard," because I've always loved antiques and things. It's just, thinking some of them are very heavy. Just like, nobody's gonna wanna move this crap. But
I understand.
yeah, so yeah, I think that that's, a part of an important part of the journey. Maybe if there's just less clutter, but not just physically, but here.
Well, and odd you bring this up is that the past few years, I think in July in 2023, I left on my world peace tour
Yes.
and through those years, I thought I was gonna sell my house.
Mm,
And I went through everything that I owned, and it is hard. I wept, and it took me about almost 2 years
mhm.
of being able to detach from my home and all of that stuff, and I got down to where I just have, like, if I sold the house, furnished, everything I have would fit in my car. Then I don't have to sell my house. And now I'm in this weird Zen space of minimalism
Yes.
where I can live out of a suitcase and not want for all the things that it's just a fascinating place. I can't say enough about it, but yes, it's the hardest thing I ever did.
See, I just talked to you about it and it's just like, "God, I'm just gonna do it." And then my Sherpa says, "That's why you have a Sherpa." So, yes, the other half.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like, I know, but no, I really feel bless you. It's just but you know what? If I think back to the people that have been on the show over the years, because this specific show has been around since, 2019, or I mean, the Outer Realm itself, right? Um, I think of the people that I have talked to, some of the happiest people I have talked to were minimalists and just said, this happened and I got rid of everything and I've got a little house in the woods. And I'm just like, that's amazing.
so happy.
So happy because there's just nothing weighing them down.
And think about and what I love about my life is the rock star story, is
Yeah.
that there was and this also I throw out about manifestation, is that I lived and breathed and just I was on the road in rock and roll for 20 years. I did it afterwards,
Yes.
not on the road,
Yeah.
and it didn't happen. Was I a failure, or
Mhm.
was it a divine intervention that allowed me now to be where I am, which is that minimalist who doesn't want I wouldn't want that if they offered it to me today.
Mhm. Yes. Um, I think it's more I'm with you, sister. Oh, somebody's on a roll today. Um, I I think it would be more of a divine intervention. I agree with that because I think, you know, it's funny because Wayne and I've actually talked about this a lot, where you're just going through life and you come across a situation that it gets harder and harder. It's like an uphill battle, and you're thinking, "Oh my gosh!" And the universe is trying to show you little hints to sort of nudge you into a different direction. And when you slowly start going into that different direction, you start seeing how easy it's starting to get. And you're kind of like, God, I must have been so thick to have missed this. And the universe is going, come on. I don't know how hard I have to hit you, but you're not listening to me. And you realize when you end up in the place you're supposed to be, you just feel like the weight of the world has been removed for you. And you wonder to yourself, why did I fight this exactly?
Well, and yes, you wonder that, and yet in my olden age,
Yeah.
I look back and think everything I did was so valuable. Even those things that, for about 2 years, I was the development director of a nonprofit, a women's nonprofit in St. Paul.
Yes.
Never, ever would I have wanted to or imagined or dreamt about being a development director, and it was one of the hardest 2 years of my life. My husband would say, "You go to bed crying, you wake up crying,
Yeah.
and you give everything to it," and I finally got out of it.
Yeah.
All the things I did there, I'm so grateful for learning how to do 5-year budget projections.
Yeah.
Just structures of the boards and all the things that people I can't be thankful enough. And so I
Mhm.
don't feel like, what was wrong with me? It was like, no, I needed to have that experience. And now I'm in this experience.
Yeah. See, it's everything is valuable. Everything we do has value. Everything is a lesson. So now, essentially, you're just a consciousness rock star.
You know what?
You're still a rock star,
I
girl.
am a rock star. I
Yes.
have decided
Woo.
my dream has come true in the best way
Yeah.
possible
Yes.
because I don't have to be in the industry, which
Yeah.
just is creepy to me now.
Mhm.
And I use my music, um, in fact, I just have up my whole website, barbwith.com
Yes.
is my
Yes, yes,
music
up. Let me
site.
put it up. Let me put it up, and this way everybody can see it.
Barbara With, that's my bigger site, but barbwith.com.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah,
my music website.
okay, but can they access that
Yes.
website through this one? Okay.
Yes, you can
Uh,
that too.
okay, I'm just going to remove the scroll across, and I just want it to come up. Okay, so this is the one
Yep,
that's
that'll get
okay,
you everywhere.
and they get you everywhere, and there's
The
lots
psychic
to see.
sorority and conflict
Yes.
revolution and,
Yeah,
uh
there's so much to see. I did have so Michael says, "What can we do, all of us right now, to help this move? Because or move our civilization towards betterment and stopping finding yourself in a calm place, looking inward and trying to love myself."
well, I think you just said it.
Look at that, Michael. You're
That's
on a
what
roll too.
you don't need us. See,
No.
that's the point.
Yeah.
There's no more gurus. There's our own relationship to our own intuition, which is our own connection to our own God self,
Yes.
always impelling us to take a step for the good of the whole.
Mhm.
This is the thing, the intellect and the brain, where everything, all the wild horses exist and
Yeah.
imagination and all the stuff that can get in the way. And what Einstein says is every conflict that you manifest outside yourself, whether it's your sister or the war or whatever, begins because intellect can say no to intuition. So intuition can impel you to take a step, but intellect can say, no, I'm too busy. Like your intuition is telling you to rest,
Mm.
just rest. No, I've got too much to do. And then you make
This
the
is the
decision.
enemy.
Yeah.
This is the enemy to this. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
once we align those and turn this into our trusted ally who
Yes.
is doing its job by paying attention to what's going on and listening to intuition and then doing what it says.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the pathway I think that you mentioned earlier about how can the
Yeah.
world find world peace. I just don't think as time marches on, I don't think there's any other way but in.
Yes. No, I'm totally on board with you there. Like I said, it's funny because you need the balance, but this tends to be the culprit that
Mhm.
keeps pulling you back out. That's what wakes you up at night. That's what keeps the all of this going. It's the visual. That's where your visual comes in. So if you're watching things or listening to things, everything ends up in here, and you need to see and feel it from within, right?
And that's just us getting to know ourselves, getting to know our greater selves. Because how many listening to this have really taken the time to get to know yourself? And this is just a simple formula of emotion in your solar plexus, intuition in your heart, and intellect in your head,
Mhm.
and a matter of stepping outside. We call it the witness, right? You
Mhm.
kind of formulate this. Okay, I'm going to watch myself. I'm going to see, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? And what is intuition impelling me to do? What would God tell me to do? That alone changes your whole life. Once you start looking at yourself in that way, it changes. It changes your relationship to everything, one little step at a time.
Mm. And this is something that it's built in. It should be easy to access. This is a part of who we are. and yet it gets shelved. Yeah, yeah,
This gets in the way.
yeah,
And there's any number of excuses, the
yeah,
ego. Well,
yeah.
I'm too busy for this, or no, that's not. Man, we have so many aspects up there, so much conversation going on. And plus, if we're empathetic, then we can bring in, if we're on our timelines, we've got past life. It gets crazy. So,
That's a big one, the ego. Yes, I'm glad you actually brought that up.
mhm.
So, how do you kill the ego?
Well, we don't kill it.
Come on.
We we transmogrify it. We retrain it to understand what its job really is. And what I've found is that when the ego really understands what its job really is and wants to do it because it makes the whole system operate on this magical manifestation, but it's getting there. It's getting to where you can really, it's like you said, where do you release control? Meditation is like having a tot in the room. And how do we master these wild horses of our intellect? And I believe it's something that we do not in like set aside an hour for meditation, although that's always good. Breath exercises are good. To me, it's a daily observation throughout the day because I know my ego can put me in a lot of trouble. And so I take the time when I'm not having to interact, right? You're standing in line at the supermarket, you're caught in traffic,
Mhm.
and you don't have to be doing anything. And you observe what your thought is doing. See what that ego is doing. Get to know the kind of, because that's where all the trouble starts. And if you can master it, which it can be done,
Mm.
it doesn't mean you never have, you know, struggles with your ego by any means, but you're so much more fortified in the rest of the operating system. You're not denying your intuition. You're not denying your emotion. You're working from this greater self. Then ego is like, oh, okay, my job is to stay in present moment, be present. Whatever's
Mhm.
going on in front of you, be there, not in your head on tomorrow and yesterday. And then listen for intuition and then do it. And it's very hard oftentimes to do what intuition wants you to because you don't understand the bigger implication of what's about to happen.
Mm. Most people don't even know they're getting intuitive messages. They're
Yes.
like they don't know to trust it. Is this my higher self? Is this my intuition? Or is this just my head?
Yeah. It's hard to tell. And I guess that's why I just love this process, this model that we have, because it's a
Mhm.
simple model and it sets it up to where now you have to be motivated to work the model.
Yeah.
But it's simple: intellect, intuition, emotion. Intuition is always telling you the
Yeah.
next
Mhm.
most advantageous step for the good of the whole system that your intellect won't know because that's not its job.
Mhm.
And working with it, and I don't know what the answer is to how to motivate people, I guess this is why I'm been on my perpetual world peace tour till the day I die.
Mhm.
Is the only way I know is to keep talking about it, to keep reinforcing it in these conversations that we're having, that we can master
Yeah.
ourselves. We can take control.
Mhm. And I'm glad, like, even with this comment, I'm okay. Trauma really blocked my confidence, and listening to my gut and made me in complete denial of self.
That's what ego does.
Yeah.
And the ego's, part of what I think for those of us in trauma, but I think all of us, is that they were survival techniques that we used.
Mm.
And they were intellectual constructs to keep our emotions safe, to keep ourselves safe. But they blocked us from so many things.
Mm. Yes. When I think back, to where we are today as humanity, like I try to look beyond all of the nationalities. I look at us all as we're the human race. Pretty much, we're all in it together. One form or another, we are all in it together. But did the ancients have it right? Really? Because I mean, aside from exterior frequencies or all the stuff that we're being pummeled with, because we live in a technological world that's just getting more technology inclined. But going back then, they had technology as well, and some of it really far surpassed our own. But, when I look at some of the indigenous people, Native American people, and the indigenous people all over the world, the connection that they had to spirit, to self, I mean, to pretty much all of these ethereal beings. I mean, they were so connected.
And one of the things that was probably true of all those indigenous beings was their relationship to the earth.
Yes.
Especially, I live in a place in northern Wisconsin that's the middle of Indian country. It's
No,
treaties.
yeah, I've got a friend who's in the Mohican. Is that where you're near the Mohican area?
No, I'm up in it's basically Chippewa.
Oh,
It's
so you're further
Anishinaabe,
the other way.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lake Superior. But
Right, right, yeah.
needless,
Yeah, still, yeah.
the basis of their religion and their governance
Yes, yes.
has to be is about the earth and taking care of each other and the planet and using those resources to take care of ourselves as community and family.
Mhm,
And so they've always said that they're the answer. That philosophy is the answer for what's coming to us.
mhm.
And I'm one of those people because I do live in I live on an island in Lake Superior, and
Which is beautiful. Yeah,
and the way the water thing is now, well, we've always known for years and years that water was gonna be the issue, but it's it's what keeps me healthy and connected is
yeah.
being that close to nature, and so many people aren't.
Yes, yes, 100%. And as long as you're able to stay, it's a wonderful thing because you're right. It is being nature grounds you.
Yeah.
Trees ground you, everything, the water source, it flows. We are water as well. So being closer, I grew up, up north in northern Canada. And
Oh,
I was near all of that, all of it. And Lake Superior, no stranger to Lake Superior. I live on Lake Ontario now. It's just, near Lake Erie. I live kind of at this conjunction of all of these waterways. And it's incredible how that makes you feel being near rivers and just connecting to all of these energy sources. It's you want solitude. Everybody comes in around all these areas to get it. And how do you get that living in what I call the concrete jungle? It's very, very hard.
yeah, I know, because I think about, all of the stress just on our bodies between the frequencies of,
Yeah.
Wi-Fi and the whatever, cell phone, whatever,
Yeah.
and how to ground back into the earth. I think
Yes.
people just have to make a even if there's a little spot of green under a tree to be
Earthing.
able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Get your bare feet on the grass, hug a tree, because
literally,
I I don't think people understand on an average that the planet is sentient, the trees are sentient. They all communicate through a root system like nature communicates, and they all have an understanding of everything that's going on around them. Then in comes us, and it just mixes everything up, jams up the frequency. When at the end of the day, we're the one with the jammed frequency.
yeah. And it's the trees. I just did a little channel about trees.
I
Somebody
love
asked a
that.
question, and they said, "Trees are the most, sort of inconspicuous form of active compassion." Because how many times a day are you driving down the street, walking down the street, there's trees. Sometimes there's not trees, I get that, but where there are trees, I live in a place where there's a lot of trees, and
Yeah.
you just not even think about them. And you don't
Mhm.
feel what you were just saying, they have this incredible network and they're sort of sentient, so
Yes.
they have taken us in as part of their family and are ready to take care of us in that way, and ever since that reading it, I swear every time I'm driving or walking, I'm like, Thank you. Thank you for providing me this energy of
Yes.
being connected to nature in a way
Mm,
that I don't always think about, but you're always there doing it. Thank you
mhm,
so much.
mm. Yeah, do you think maybe that's part of it? Is that, you can walk through a forest, and this comes to mind because Heidi says, "Tune into the birdies singing their truth." It's like, yeah, it's sitting there and actually slowing down, but just listening to the sounds. Like when you grow up in certain places, like where you are, where I grew up, even here, just listening to the frogs at night, the crickets, the loons, just listening to the wildlife, the birds. I mean, it's listening.
Yeah. It's listening to a part of us that we don't often associate with. I don't think people understand that we are of the earth. We are, yeah, we're not attached to it like trees are,
Yes.
but we're a part of it all. And the whole thing, getting back to how we started, it's a
Yeah.
mystery. It's such this magnificent, magical manifestation of
Mm,
this whatever.
yeah.
How can you not just be amazed at it? I know,
Mhm.
because it's hard, but that's that's what I hope we're moving towards.
I think if we can release the conditioning of, all conditioning, it's not just so much, what society conditions you, but it's also the conditioning of your upbringing, the conditionings that we put on ourselves, just going through everyday life. You're right. It's not easy to just say, I'm going to throw caution to the wind, let somebody else take the wheel, and just see where it goes. Some people are just like, no, I don't think I'm good with that.
Well, and maybe a different way to look at it, and this is how I experience
Mhm.
it, is that
Yeah.
it's not actually giving the wheel to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's actually taking control of the wheel that you're supposed to be in control of, but
Oh,
nobody ever told you.
no.
Nobody ever told you what to do with your thoughts. Nobody ever
Yeah.
told you how to
Right.
feel, how to live intuitively, but they're still your responsibility.
Mhm.
So once you get control, this is what I love about this work is I always say you don't have to stop being a control freak. In
Right.
fact, we want you to be a control freak
Well, that's
just
good.
about the just about the things that you have control of.
Yes.
Nobody
Mm,
can think your thoughts, nobody can feel your feelings, nobody can listen to your intuition but you.
mm,
And when you throw that control freakishness into the curiosity of experimentation,
mm.
because we can all experiment on ourselves in this
Yes.
way,
Yes.
and learn who you are, and then learn how to control it in a way
Mm,
that isn't like controlling outside you, but controlling this, that's when manifestation starts to take place in those magical, mystical, longed for ways, I think.
mhm. Well, that's the key. I think we come back to, these conditions that we have on ourselves, and that can be a tough one. But I mean, I think it's great to start in baby steps.
Have to
I
start in
know.
baby steps.
I know. And it doesn't seem to matter because, I do all kind I do like shadow work, light work, energy work galore. It's been a natural thing for me from the time I was a child. I don't have to think about things like that. But I still, because I am a bit of a powerhouse and holding on to my control, like this is the gripping the wheel. But and I know better. That's the
Mm,
thing is I know better
I
because
know.
I am one of these people who are out there, working with ether, all these ethereal beings or energies, and yet I am grounded to the earth enough to be just like, no, I'm just not. I don't do what am supposed to do all the time consciously into the consciousness.
And that's I think the crux, for me anyway, is that I have a very high expectation of
Yeah,
myself.
yeah,
And like you, I I don't always practice what I preach,
right.
but it becomes that piece of it has become really important to me, that I do practice what I preach. And I've been telling my conflict revolutionary associates lately that it's a really tight revolution that I have. Like, if you trigger me because you're a control freak,
Yes.
it doesn't get to you. It goes straight to me. Goes straight to me. Okay, so where am I being a control freak?
Right.
And then I start looking over here to find those places, and I always find them. It's like swell, right? You want to find where you're being a control freak? Just ask. You'll see.
Yes. Yes.
And then the ego kicks in to say, I'm not a control freak. And,
Oh, no, I know I am.
I know, but then you are.
Oh, yeah.
And then you wrestle with it. And then it's like, so what are you going to do to not be a control freak?
Mm-hmm.
What small baby step does that entail? Like, maybe it's just the middle of the night where, you know what? I'm not going to keep worrying about next week.
Mm.
I'm going to start to do some box breath and get out of my head and, focus on my body. That's the hardest thing to do in the middle of the night. But when you do it, you're asleep before you know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, some days are good, some days aren't. Like, I mean, I'm the only person I know who went for a Reiki session with a Reiki master, and she's trying to move my energy and I'm holding it. And she's like, this has never happened to me before. I'm like, I'm sorry.
I know.
So, so she goes, you have to go home and think about this. And 2 weeks later, I went back, but I had to, like you say, I had to work it out in my mind to say it was okay to let this woman play with my energy and manipulate my energy. And it felt great afterwards. But it was funny because Margaret was strange because my whole body started shaking and I could hear this in my head like a machine. And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I did not even recognize what was happening to that point. That she goes, she's like, you're holding it. I'm like, I'm trying to throw it at you. She goes, yeah, but there's something in you that's totally working against that idea. So what is that?
What a mystery. Well, I just, I think part of it is ego. And I think part of it is intuition.
Right.
Because what I've come to find in my life is that 9 times out of 10, my intuition is going to tell me something, to do something that I may not want to do, or I may want to do, but then I get an idea of what it's going to turn out like. Okay, go have a Reiki session. This is going to help your energy, whatever. So there was a reason intuition told you to go do that. And it was to show you that you have this subconscious intellectual power, maybe part skeptic, because I don't think skepticism is a bad thing necessarily, but and then you had to go through the process to get there. So it's almost like intuition knew your whole self better than your intellect, which probably first said, oh, I'm so sorry, what's wrong with me? And then had to work through it.
Yes.
So that's the thing I was saying about intuition. It has this bigger thing. It's mysterious.
Well, threw me for a loop. I mean, I had been doing yoga with this woman. She's this beautiful elderly lady who trained in India. Just lovely. I'm thinking, oh God, I'd known her for years. I thought, oh, okay, if I'm going to do Reiki with anybody, it's going to be her. And, I think I just startled both of us in the whole process.
Well, and yet maybe the whole, it was part of the Reiki process. It was part of bringing something up that you couldn't see in a way that allowed you to process it. So
yeah, I just kept saying to her, says, I think the lesson was for you. It's just never happened before. She goes, maybe, but I knew it was me. It just made me feel better, but
right.
but again, it comes down to the me thing. So I try not to do that. But so do you work with people on this sort of thing? Like you have classes, or do you have books on this? Like how can people connect with you and say, Make me believe it.
Well, I do readings, and as my friends always tell me, you have to try to explain to people that you're not like a normal psychic.
Right.
You can tell. I mean, they're really deep. They give you a whole lot of information in a way that I say usually about 10% of it your intellect is able to put together, and
Mhm,
then the rest of it is something that gets sort of time released over time as you begin to discover these things. And ultimately, we're going to, as human beings, as individuals, we're going to transform ourselves, or we're going to come back over and over and over until we get it.
mhm,
So my goal is to help people get it like now,
mhm,
so that we can break that cycle. And also, when you start to take responsibility and see your life change in these little ways, you do these little things that sometimes they're hard to do, but when you do them, a big effect happens. That's why we could call it revolution,
yes.
because conflicts maybe you've been having for decades with somebody can suddenly, once you revolve and go in the dark side and figure it out and change it here, that changes everything in that particular conflict. And
Mm,
so, um, it's really, I think, the work that I do, and yes, I have books. I also have a conflict revolution challenge on my website. When you go to barbarawith.com, look up to the upper right-hand corner, and it's a free download of conflict revolution and a little journal that you can keep to track the kinds of changes that you yourself are bringing into your life. And it's kind of it builds on itself. Like, it happens once, and then the magic starts a little bit, and then you stumble along, like you say, 2 steps forward, 3 steps
mhm.
back.
Yeah.
But then you begin to, like a good scientist, be able to replicate that effect of manifestation and self-love and all those things that we're ultimately, I think we're all looking to feel self-loved
Yeah.
and taken care of. And yeah, I can do a lot of stuff. And if anybody wants a reading, I have a code, Einstein 40, and you can get
Mm,
40% off.
there you go, people.
And other things. I'm about to do, I have a book out called Party of 12, The Afterlife Interviews. And I put that out in 2001. And this is the 25th anniversary. And it's where I met Einstein, JFK, Princess Di, this whole gaggle of people working in Afterlife for world peace.
Mhm.
So I'm going to re-release it this year in the 25th anniversary edition. And I'm going to do a session, a Zoom channeling session with
Ooh,
the party, specifically the party, especially in this day and age,
yes.
and
Yeah.
kind of see how they can want to touch base after 25 years of this grand experiment.
Ooh, it sounds so exciting.
I'm
So
excited.
when does the 25 years, actually come up?
It's June.
Wow,
Yeah,
June. That sounds like fun.
yeah. So,
Wow, alright. So,
so yeah,
well, I mean, I'm hoping that people will be able to, connect with you, and I'm hoping that I had a lot of fun doing the show. I think that it's an important topic, and it seems to be one that is growing, and I'm just seeing it pop up in a lot of different places, and in the age of potential transhumanism and technology, um, there's always that fear from what I've been reading. It's like, because I don't get online a lot to get on social media, but I do try every now and then just to kind of see where the whole dynamics of the collective is. Um, and there is that fear, that what do they call it? The God spark. They're just that transhumanism or technology is trying to dim that that one little light, and which could affect consciousness. So I think again it's reframing this, and maybe people need to be taught when this happens, because it seems to be there are some circles where people are struggling with it.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I just have dedicated this work for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
because you can't transhuman me.
Yeah.
But
Quietly go
but
there.
yes, I mean,
Yeah.
everyone has that potential inside them to
Yes.
take control of themselves in a way that
Yes.
has you detached from those ideas
Yes.
and not driven by fear and self-care.
Yes. I perfect way to end.
Oh,
And
thank you so much.
oh, thank you. It's always such a pleasure having you sit across from me and listening to what you have to say. And everybody in the chat was totally
This is
all
great.
about it. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Self-love is swell.
It was swell. We'll go with swell. And of course, this is one of our lighter shows for the week because tomorrow night, guys, Samuel Chong returns with another book. He's just a genius. Anyway, he's translated another book called 334% Lies, The Secrets of the Secret Society. So we're gonna go there.
Oh,
I know.
wow.
I know, we're gonna go there. So tune in for that. And Thursday, of course, well, I'm really excited for the first time to have Michelle Heaton on. And here's this consciousness thing again. So we just kind of got one little hump in between us. But she wrote a book called The Dream Guardian: Sasquatch and the Path to Awakening. And started coming in dreams. Now she has these regular interactions, as a forest dweller, forest resident, so to speak. And she basically went off totally a journey into the unknown where boundaries and realities seem just to go back and forth, vivid storytelling, heartfelt reflections, consciousness, the whole nine yards. So it's amazing how, again, we get into the dream state. Was it really a dream state, or we were just sort of traveling and hanging out with the big guy out in the forest? I don't know, but it sounds like it's going to be a very interesting segment. So thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your days. And for those of you in chat, Mark, enjoy your evening because I know you're out in the UK. And, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you tomorrow evening. And thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Good.